Hello and welcome to Crushing Comics. I'm your host, Peter, also known throughout the internet as Krisis. And we are here today not to unbox a new book for the collection, but actually to talk about packing up the collection. So here's a brief recap for those of you who have not been with the channel for years now. I originally assembled this collection in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I had my original comic books that I collected back in the 90s, and then I started collecting collected editions starting in 2010. And by the time that I had to pack it up for a big international move to Wellington, New Zealand in the middle of 2017, I had what I roughly estimated using various online databases to be about 25,000 issues worth of single comics, but not just a single comics, many of them in a collected edition. So, you know, like a X-Men omnibus might have 40 effective issues in it. So I was counting by how many effective issues I had collected. So it's a massive comic book collection, which now that we're in the world of digital, do I regret a little bit? Parts of it, but not all of it. So that was a huge move. To do an international move, you have to have everything in boxes that can basically stand up on their own in an international shipping container. So a box like our classic comic short box, this is not going to make it all the way across the ocean in a shipping container being bashed around. So even short boxes needed to be put in their own box with packing around them, and it was intense. And I wound up with about 120 boxes worth of comic books. And just getting them all ready for that was crazy. But the reason we're talking about this right now is because, fortunately and unfortunately, I am moving again. The house that we've been in here in Wellington is a rented house. It's beautiful, and the owner's going in a different creative direction with the house. So now we are moving to another really beautiful house, and I have to figure out how to mobilize all of this to get to the new house in the next 6 days. Luckily, this is only a 10-minute move instead of a move of, by freighter that took 6 weeks and covered almost 10,000 miles. So what I want to do is actually briefly flash back to what the collection looked like before I moved, which in some ways was a little bit more accessible in terms of the stacks, which is what I call all of the stuff that I don't shelve. But then the shelf was not really as handy as these shelves, which I've fallen in love with. Then I'll take you on a little bit of a tour of what we have here currently, and then, well, we'll get to that. Perhaps for the last time, here is the American-based tour of the Krisis archives. This is my main shelf, as you can see, adorned with many Marvel Legends. This used to be all of X-Men, but now it is all of Bendis Avengers, that's in that back row, and then all of Marvel Events, and then all of oversized X-Men, although you can see a couple other things are mixed in as I'm in my packing process. And then all of my Marvel Masterworks, and then every Epic collection. And then I still have all of Uncanny X-Men along the bottom. And you'll notice that these are all double deep, so this has a whole other row of Masterworks behind it. This has some books behind it as well. So that's the main collection. Okay, now we're getting into the big stuff. This is complete 90s Catwoman. This is all of my DC collections, which other than Wonder Woman, which is not a lot. Watchmen, of course. This is complete Alpha Flights. Starts with the collections and then goes to singles. You can see North Star on top there. This stack here, I'm sorry, I'm not going to open all these. This is complete Wonder Woman. Starting with Silver Age from like 220. I finally just completed this the other day. This is complete Pit by Image. Because this whole wall here is complete Image. Not Spawn, not Savage Dragon, nor anything from those two imprints, but pretty much complete Image otherwise. And then we have complete Marvel. So what complete Marvel means is not all Marvel ever, but it's all Marvel from 2000 forward, and then it's some characters complete ever. This continues, and continues. Ghost Rider, and continues. And then here at the end is complete Marvel Now. That's every book from Marvel Now in 7 short boxes. So that is, oh wait, and there's more here. Random Marvel. I don't even really know what that means anymore. That is the Krisis archives, soon to be relocated to New Zealand. Now you've seen the state that the collection was in before the move. Now let's take a look at the state of the collection as it stands right now, starting with a closer look at what's behind me, but then also what's behind you, behind the camera here. This is my primary oversized shelf from Marvel. It has a couple of different things on the top, and you saw me fill this all up at the end of my unwrapping video. So, it starts with some Buffy, behind this Onslaught, which arrived from my good friend Brooks, Sandman. And then I kind of have my Marvel Events shelf up here. Towards the ends of the event shelf, some more indie stuff. And then we go into hardcore X-Men from the beginning. X-Men Origins, X-Men Omnibuses, into X-Men events in the late 80s, all the way through some packing tape, and then Morrison-era X-Men. And then as you can see below, many other OHCs, which is oversized hardcovers, and all the way down to some of my favorites here tucked away at the bottom. You don't get to see them on videos. Tomb of Dracula and Mighty Hands, or Deadly Hands of Kung Fu. So some very, very cool stuff here. And then at the bottom, you never get to see this, is my sheet music collection. I have a huge, huge sheet music collection from when I used to play regularly in a cover band in the States, you can say. But here's the shelf you don't get to see as much, which is the shelf on the other side, which is my non-oversized collection. So I have... You can just hear things falling and shattering all around me. So I have a huge Marvel Masterworks collection. I didn't go all in on Masterworks, but there are a lot of lines that I follow. And these are all double deep. So if I take off some Fantastic Four here, there's actually, who's that in the back? Submariner in the back. Then I have my Epic shelf, which you can see I've already started boxing. And these are also double deep. And I have all the Epics except for Conan and Star Wars. I don't do Conan and Star Wars. And then we have our little Magnolia corner here, which you can see on video. Epics continue. Then I have my little Wonder Woman block. I mostly have Wonder Woman in floppies, which are up there. But these are some collected Wonder Woman, which is like some older and then also some newer. And then I have my indie collection begins. Starts here with Torso by Bendis, Bennett, and then we go. Here's some more. So I have all these spaced out books just for show purposes, right? And then there's this lower layer, it continues. Here's the other side of the room. Now, I'm in the midst of packing, so please excuse the insanity. So here's a stack that's 4 tall, that's pretty much just stuff I'm referencing for show. So you see like Black from when I was doing Black Panther with Freya, Dazzler, Gambit, Maverick, X stuff. And then this back thing, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 long and 3 to 5 high. Can you even see? Is all of Wildstorm. The total Wildstorm completely boxed. Not really much to look at. And then also, there's this tower. This is the other side you don't get to see from me broadcasting. This is hilarious, because this is what I'm looking at when I'm doing these Hoxpox episodes. So my tower of boxes, which a laptop usually sits on top of. My guitars all around so I can do the bumper music. And like board games and packing tape and X-Men Legends off to the side, because I'm trying to figure out what to do with it. So there's the whole shelf setup. So here's the stacks here in our large garage, which has come in very handy and is now boxing central. And back here we have my character stacks, which are not all in super order, but I got them in pretty good order when I first unboxed them. And then I have a whole other wall. Spider-Man, more Spider-Man, more Spider-Man, more Spider-Man, and then back to X-Men. I can't really access this. Like, it's not so far away from the room we were just in. But it's really hard for me to just come and be like, oh, la la la, because as you can see, right now, it's a packing nightmare. So that is the state of the collection here in Wellington. Now I have to figure out how to move it all. So I would not be excited about all of them in a moving truck with like sofas and other boxes and things all bumping against them. So I'm trying to engineer a smaller, more bespoke way to get them from here to the other house. I'm kind of doing the math in my head. Like if I do it with my car, I can do like 8 at a time, but then 8 into 120 is 15, so that's 15 car trips. If I rent a van, can I do it in fewer car trips? So that's what we're going to go and engineer right now. Okay, here we are outside in Wellington, New Zealand, which unfortunately is not the most beautiful day in Wellington, but we're here at our trusty family car, and I'm going to see how many comic boxes I can get into it with the seats down and everything, but still with the child seat inside, because that is a pain in the butt to take out. So let's see how many boxes I can Tetris into this car without taking out the child seat for one trip. I discovered some spiders living near my comic book boxes, which makes me a little bit nervous. Let's continue. I mean, maybe you want there to be spiders in the comic boxes because they're gonna get the other bugs that want to eat the comics. They weren't in the boxes. They were just near the boxes. But anyway, here's the good news. I got 15. 15 boxes. I probably could do more, but they're already getting wet. And I want to also put some other stuff on top. So I'm going to do that, then we're going to take a ride to the new house and unload them, and then we're going to see how many it takes. But 15 per carload, I think I'm going to be in pretty good shape, I think. Cool. Here I am in the new garage. It actually has indoor-outdoor carpet, which I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. The books in here because it's going to make it more moist. I don't know, I have to run the dehumidifier. But anyway, I got a few stacked up and I'm going to bring more in. That's it for the first load, 15 boxes brought here, so like at worst, I guess I've aided these trips. Also, it's not raining here. I mean, the ground is wet, but Wellington has many microclimates. So that is a miniature look of what's going to become the new stacks. Hopefully a little bit drier, a little bit more accessible. So it's a new day in Wellington, a bright and rather beautiful day after some morning rain. Yesterday wound up being a wash. By the time the rain stopped, we were in the urgent care center, which is a story for another day. So now we're going to see, since I'm not fighting against rain, if I can get even more boxes into the car this time. So let's give it a try. I could have landed from space for all the sense that I made. That time I fit in 20. So that means things are going to go even faster. We'll see how the car rides with that many comics in it. But before I go, let me give you a brief shot of this beautiful Wellington morning and the view that we're leaving behind with this house. This is Wellington Harbor, as seen from our living room. And that island in the middle is called Soames Island. Hey there, we are on day 4 of the big move. As you can see, there are some empty shelves here behind me, because all of the Epic collections are packed. So if you're wondering how much all of the in-continuity Marvel Epic collections took up in short boxes, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Not that bad, right? Plus, I probably have a few that are still on the shelves and a few that are still in boxes from IST. So let's just call it 9, shall we? So things are going well. There have been many, many trips to the new place. But as you can see, I still have the really hard and precious cargo, which is the X-Men oversized shelf, still to come. After a full day of moving, I've cleared off one entire calyx except for absolutes. And also, I've started in on the oversized collection. I think I have a good solution that's not individually wrapping every book. So I have these 40-liter bins, and I line them on the bottom with fabric, and then I put, you'll recognize these if you've watched the channel for a whole long time. That's the bubble wrap packages that I had put all these books in to safely get here from the States. And so then I put bubble wrap on all sides, and I just have kind of like 1.5 expedites of books each. And I have several of these bins. So I think it's going to work. And I just have to figure out where in the new house to put them, because the shelves will be one of the last things to go. So I have to basically find every possible flat space where there's not going to be movers, and that's where all these books have to get unloaded. So I have this is just a sample run, but I think I have the ability to do one whole row at a time. So if this sample run goes okay, it should only be 1, 2, and then 3 more car trips. And then all the things you see in the bottom is just sheet music, which just can go in normal boxes. So I think I'm almost there, hopefully. We'll see. Well, my friends, this is it. I have an empty room. You can hear it from the bounce and the echo. Here is the empty shelves. I couldn't even get this vantage point on it before because I literally couldn't get into this corner. Hopefully I'm not going to pack the next room as tight. What I discovered over the course of this is I had as many things in this room as people I think sometimes have in their entire house. I spent like 4 days of car trips and untold boxes, and it just was like more and more stuff was coming out, and as the rest of the house unpacked, like the amount of output from this room was equal. So it should be fun to put it back together. But right now, some wonderful, very strong people are helping us with the move. And the next time you see a video, I will be residing in a totally new location. I thought about ending the video there, but I realized the climax is not really the empty room. The climax is the books in the new location. So here we are in one of the rooms in our new house, and one of my two calyxes, which you are very familiar with. And behind me are all of my oversized books. Those are the ones you saw me take in those big plastic bins lined with bubbles and fabric, and they're all of the books that you saw me open up on this channel in my original Crushing Comics series. There might be one or two on here that you didn't see me open, but for the most part, all of these are books of my collection you have witnessed. But what about all the other stuff? They're here and they're all in one place. I haven't shelved or distributed any of them yet around the house because I wanted you to get a sense at the end of the video what I really mean when I'm talking about a more than 25,000 comic book collection. It could be as many as 30 now, I don't know. The last time I did a really solid tally and inventory, it was somewhere above 25,000. So that's what I keep saying, but perhaps I need to go and do a recount, although that is not my top priority in life right now. So now that you know that all the oversized books are safe, let's go take a look at just how big that collection actually is. Here we are at the new stacks. These are all of my short boxes, all in one place. There are 155 of them. And these all came over by car. At first you saw me do a trip of 15, but I started to be able to do trips of 20 plus after that. So this all happened in about 8 trips. I just want to take a quick stroll to give you the scope here. So there's this whole row, and then this row, which has some of that Wildstorm stuff that I've referred to, but also some other things. And then if we come around here, we have this long row, which are things you have not seen. And then that row is largely things that were on the shelf on the other calyx, like Masterworks and Epics. I think this by itself very much could be said to be over a 25,000 floppy comic book collection, and it is in 155 short boxes. Now you have experienced a little bit of the journey that I and my comic collection have been on over the course of the last 2 years, starting just outside Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, traveling about 9,000 miles here to Wellington, New Zealand to move into our first home here, and then 2 years later moving into our second home here in Wellington. The question is, what comes next? Well, you've already seen me unwrap all of these books. I considered wrapping them all up again just so we could look through them again because that was a lot of fun, but I decided against it. You've already seen it. I've already said it. The chances are I would probably say a lot of the same things if I did those videos again. The question is, what are we going to do about those 155 short boxes? Now, a pretty solid amount of them, like 20 or 25, are books that you have seen on shelves behind me before, like my Masterworks and my Epics, although I might want to talk about those. I've never really talked about them all at one time on the channel. But that leaves over 130 other boxes that are comics that you have probably never seen and that I haven't seen in over 2 years since I originally packed them in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and possibly much longer, given how long it took to accumulate that collection. I have some ideas about what that can look like here on this channel. I would love to hear your ideas too. So if you have some thoughts on what you would like to see with that huge comic collection, feel free to leave them in the comments below. But most importantly, please feel free and please do subscribe to my channel here. It's not only the home to Crushing Comics, but all of my video content. And I have a lot more to say about comics, about Wellington, New Zealand, and about me and my life here. So I hope you stay tuned. And I'm so thankful for your viewership, not only on this one journey that's been represented by this video, but on the journey that I've been on as a video creator over the last 2 years, dipping my toes and then leaping in deeply into the world of YouTube. So thank you so much for coming along with me. I am, as always, Peter, sometimes known on the internet as Krisis, your host here at Crushing Comics. Thank you so much for watching.